Hello everybody, welcome back for another video. Hope you're all doing well and that you're all having a great day. As always, a free way to support the channel is by leaving a thumbs up. It does help with the algorithm. And without further ado, let's jump right into it. Michael Saylor, the CEO of MicroStrategy, has offered the founder of Tesla, Elon Musk, advice on investing in Bitcoin now that its price has been rising. Musk, who had posted a meme on Twitter in which he was trying to resist investing in Bitcoin, was given the advice in the reply section still sounds kind of weird, by Saylor. Saylor went on to add that he was willing to share his ideas offline with Musk. He playfully added that he would like to exchange ideas from one rocket scientist to another. Michael Saylor's tweet had implied that Musk would be doing his investors a big favor by investing in Bitcoin. He noted that if Tesla was to invest in Bitcoin, other S&P 500 companies would do the same, and this would lead Bitcoin $1 trillion, etc., etc., etc. So the major news right now is that Elon Musk said the word Bitcoin. This has happened before, but for some reason, everyone completely lost their minds last night when he said it. There have been speculating that Elon Musk and many other rich people, I've said this before, I'm certain that nearly all of them are in Bitcoin in some form or fashion. I do not think that they are going to be missing out a chance on this. They may not be publicly announcing that they're going to be buying Bitcoin or that they already have Bitcoin. But once more, if Megan Thee Stallion has given away $1 million in Bitcoin, I'm going to roughly assume that at least some of the billionaires on the planet probably hold a smidge of Bitcoin themselves. This one says Tesla will buy Bitcoin, or rather crypto. This was said by Changpeng Cao. Last night on Twitter was kind of weird because it's like whenever a really rich person says anything about Bitcoin, people kind of lose their minds. Remember when it was before MicroStrategy, it was before Grayscale, like any time that anyone mentioned like, what's a Bitcoin? Remember when J.K. Rowling was like Bitcoin ? And she had like 38,000 comments of people like telling her like what to do. So this is yet again, I know it's Elon Musk, but another rich person who has many times. This is not the first time that Elon Musk has done this. It says speculations run rampant as Elon Musk asks Michael Saylor about Bitcoin. The other really weird part is that he mentioned the word Dogecoin. And then Dogecoin skyrocketed by 20% after Elon Musk said the word Dogecoin. To be clear, this is also not the first time that he's done that. This is from July. I think they also happened in April, and I think it happened sometime in 2019 as well. People were speculating. The cryptocurrency space is odd because it just takes a rich person to say the word of a cryptocurrency for people to go completely insane. People were like, well, maybe he's going to add it onto the Tesla website. Maybe he's going to integrate Dogecoin. And I'm like, why? What would he stand to benefit from him adding Dogecoin to the platform? Anyway, Elon Musk said Dogecoin, the price rose by 20%. He said Bitcoin, and the price rose as well, but we're going to go over that because the cryptocurrency market is never dull. And there's now speculation floating around as to when Elon Musk is going to buy Bitcoin himself. It was noted before that I think he has 0.25% of a Bitcoin that was given to him by a friend or something like that a year or two ago. But since then, no new news as if he has purchased any more Bitcoin. And for what it's worth, that's the price news. There was absolutely no Bitcoin price news this morning. It is very, very weird. We passed by 24,000 again, but then slid back down because I almost said the monsters. The bulls and the bears were having a party, and then someone drank too much and they fell on the floor, and then the bear picked them up, or whatever people like to tell themselves. So anyway, that's the price news for today, is that Elon Musk said the word Bitcoin. I wish I could have shown you how many articles were actually talking about this. It overshadowed anything else within the cryptocurrency space, which is kind of weird because something else really actually major happened and took place, but no one was talking about it. So I had to find it on an actual news website right here. Democrats and Republicans said they had an agreement on another round of 19 help including direct payments to Americans, jobless benefits, and funds for businesses, and other words I cannot say. Congressional leaders on Sunday reached a hard-fought agreement on a $900 billion stimulus package that would send immediate aid to Americans and businesses to help them cope with 19. The deal would deliver the first significant infusion of federal dollars into the economy since April, as negotiators broke through months of partisan gridlock that secured earlier talks, yada, yada, yada. So the news is that the previous stimuli was 2.2 trillion. This one is 900 billion. Still a huge amount of money. I don't think they have an actual date as to when people are going to be receiving a check or something along those lines, but apparently the news is that they're trying to do it as quickly as possible. I mentioned earlier this month, maybe even the very end of last month, that I was assuming that by January or February, we would either have news that a new check was going to be coming or that we would have some type of information that multiple checks would be released. A couple of people laughed at me in the comment section, and I was like, I'm not really sure what world you're living in. You may not actually understand how bad things are for around 125 million Americans right now, but I implore you, maybe you're just too rich to really think outside the box and see how other people are living, but look at the news and actually look at documentaries on what's taking place. So this is $900 billion that's going to be pushed out. I don't know if there's going to be a stimulus check or how much it's going to be. I think the news floating around was that it was going to be around $600. That's not enough. People need actual money right now. They need actual unemployment benefits to continue for a very long time because there simply are no more jobs. It's not as simple as saying, well, you're lazy, go file an application, go write a CV, go, whatever. No. They need actual money. So I assume over the course of next year, if this year was this bad, just imagine how bad things are going to be when people have absolutely nothing and they receive a little check for $600. So over the course of next year, we are probably going to hear multiple times that there are going to be multiple checks that are going to have to be sent out to people and or an increased amount of unemployment benefits. A lot of people are also being rejected for food stamps and stuff like that because they make like $18 over the limit. I just don't understand how that system works. The point is, they came to an agreement. So saith the news. This was not reported anywhere within the cryptocurrency space. This is why I keep saying the cryptocurrency space is ridiculous. The news floated around the fact that Elon Musk said Dogecoin and the price spiked by 20%, and the fact that he was like, oh, maybe I'll look at Bitcoin someday. And the price also rose. Not the fact that we have news that $900 billion is going to be injected into the economy. Anyway, that's that's news. I assume we'll get more information as the 10 more days and then the year's over. Isn't that insane to think? Like, literally, by the time you wake up, it'll be 9.5 days. And then the year will be over. And then, I think, are going to slide into like brief moments of wonderful insanity because the US dollar is going to continue to be devalued. That's no longer speculation. We know that it's going to happen. Bitcoin's price, so saith multiple banks, and Plan B is going to continue to rise. And a lot of other stuff I can't talk about. Anyway, the point is, yeah, that should have been major news, but it was Elon Musk talking about Dogecoin. And without further ado, let's move on. Next up, also in, I want to say I'm rich, look over here news. Sure, why not? Robert Kiyosaki, the famed author of Rich Dad, Poor Dad, is at it again when it comes to Bitcoin. In a recent interview, he commented that the price of the world's #1 crypto currency by market cap will soon reach $50,000 per coin sometime next year. Kiyosaki has always been a big Bitcoin and cryptocurrency fan. In the past, he's commented that the digital currency could potentially make gold and real estate investments a thing of the past, and he mentioned that the time to buy and get involved in cryptocurrencies was now. For those of you, I know a lot of you have heard about the gold thing, that Bitcoin will simply, someone will say, and I'll tie this into a question that was proposed yesterday. Somebody said to me, and I think I responded back to them, but just in case I did not, in case if anyone else is actually wondering the same exact thing. Someone said, hey dude, I think you're wrong. Gold is definitely still going to be used in phones and in medical equipment and on space stations and other things like that. That's not the question. It's gold being used as a stable form of, the word isn't currency, form of standard, form of money, something of money. a thing that allows money to be based off of. Why am I missing that one exact word? Gold and silver are going to continue to be used in medical equipment, in our phones, in the things that we drive, and the things that we own. That's definitely going to be a thing, as gold is a very good conductor of electricity. That's not the point. It's the actual store of value, there we go, that gold is steadily falling apart from. I was listening last night as I was going on my walk to the What Bitcoin Did podcast, not affiliated, and he was saying, the host, Peter McCormick, was saying that as he said it like a couple of months ago. He was like, man, I really want to kind of hedge my bets against Bitcoin. I really believe in Bitcoin, but I kind of want to see what else is out there. So he was like, cool, I'll go buy some gold. He said a friend told him, they were like, that's cool. Do you want to buy physical gold or the actual gold ETF? And he was like, well, you know, I want some layer 1 gold. So I want the actual gold bar itself. And then his friend goes, how are you going to sell it? And he sat there and was like, well, I'll go to the shop. And he goes, it's Saturday. I'll wait till Monday. What if prices have been falling the entire weekend? So it's just kind of, it has to do with liquidity and fast movement. Gold is wonderful. Gold will always be a thing that people are going to wear around their necks and in their mouths and on their fingers and yada, yada, yada. It's the actual ease of movement of gold. And I guess even more so, the being able to check that the gold is actually there. How many times have we heard before in the past that a country, it was like, hey, can we have our gold back? And they go, oh, now? You want your gold back today? Can we give you a call back? So anyway, the point is, yes, Bitcoin is going to rise. A lot of, I think there may be another one somewhere around here. A lot of rich people are coming out of the woodworks, or who are already out of the woodworks, who are talking about where all of this is going to be going. I think 50,000, myself personally, this is just my view on it, is all but a given. So I think it's quite funny. Remember when JP Morgan Chase was like, oh, I think Bitcoin's price is going to double. And I was like, so to 47,000, that's your actual prediction. I think we're going to have a relatively insane year with our prices still rising based off of the news or whatever has been going on, yada, yada. We still have MicroStrategy and PayPal and Grayscale and all these other companies still accumulating as well in the background. So yeah, Robert Kiyosaki thinks Bitcoin's going to go to 50,000. I think it's just so that when it goes to 51,000, he can be like, see, I told ya. But of course, it's going to go a lot higher. Anyway, that's the Bitcoin price prediction for 2021 news that I know is already going to happen. And without further ado, let's move on. I don't even have to go over this one. I mean, it says this Coinbase trend could signal another Bitcoin rally is imminent. Is that a mechanical bull? What is? I thought it was an actual bull, but I was like, something's wrong with his legs, and then it was like, oh, there's a person climbing up it. What is he doing to? Okay, so the point is, tons of articles are constantly floating around. The news being as to why it appears as if another bull run is imminent, even though we are already in a bull run, is the fact that when we dip, we don't dip that hard. So we dip by around 1 and 2%, and then kind of continue moving back up. We keep finding new floors as we're going a lot higher. And this is kind of the idea that we have such a huge amount of stability and the price continues to rise, because we did have a couple of people last week. It was about 2 or 3 people who were coming forward once again to talk about that Bitcoin had to dip to 17,000, had to dip to 12,000. These people are out of their minds. I don't know if it's wishful thinking. I'm not really sure exactly what it is, but the amount of people who keep saying and keep mentioning and keep talking about that Bitcoin has to fall in price, I think it's just desperation. And I don't mean you. I mean like the actual analysts who have like 137,000 people on their Twitter who are like, Bitcoin has to fall again in order for it to go back up. It's already up. Why does it have to fall down by $7,000 so that you can accumulate more before it has to go back up again? And even more so, it's very irresponsible. Imagine telling 134,000 people, or roughly somewhere around that area, warning, the sky's falling, because it just scares them and causes them to sell off their coins, which are probably then accumulated by the richer person who's telling you to sell off your coins in the same exact way that we heard a couple of days ago. What was the other guy? The other guy who was just talking about, he said every single time you sell, it's being bought up by institutions. Now imagine if you had sold at 17,000 because you were like, well, I know the price is going to fall back down to 12,000. You'd be out of luck right now, trying desperately to accumulate Bitcoin at these prices. Anyway, yeah, all across the board, everyone thinks that something is imminent. We're going to continue moving higher. If we have a slight dip, we have not barrier levels, like bottom levels, and it's going to bounce off of that, yada, yada. Right. like I said, not really much more to say, but I thought I'd explain a little time. That's a weird photo. Thought I'd explain a little bit more, and let's move on. Next up, Jefferies, an investment bank, you know where this is going, that generates close to $3 million in revenue and has $50 billion in assets under management, has now begun to hold, say it with me, Bitcoin in its sole fund dedicated to pensions. This was disclosed in a note sent to the bank investors by Christopher Wood, who is the global head of equity strategies at Jefferies. According to him, this year was the year Bitcoin matured to become an adoptable asset by institutions. He added that famous investors in major institutions have also declared that they have bought the crypto asset because it is now seen to be part of the system. I'm glad they finally got here. I'm glad they finally all came to the conclusion, not that it was 6 years ago, but this year, that Bitcoin was going to be around for a very long time and that they decided to finally get into it. Wood went on to add that retail investors now also have an adequate opportunity to buy into the coin. He also said that he was quite impressed with MicroStrategy's decision to hold its treasury holdings in Bitcoin. I think this is probably, where is it? Right here. Read about retail investors. This is something that a lot of people aren't talking about, so I'm going to make sure to talk about it. The news that we get every single day is that there are wealthy people buying up Bitcoin, and then another wealthy company, and then a hedge fund, and then this fund, and then that family office, and then this so-and-so, and they're buying up massive amounts of Bitcoin. I think the entire trend thing has flown, to the idea that rich people are buying up tons of crypto, which of course they are. That cannot be contested. They most certainly are. But we're missing the fact that Bitcoin is for people who aren't wealthy, who aren't rich, to be able to have the chance to get into and have a portion of the new world potential, new world currency. Discussing with my friend last night, I was telling him, I said, it's not that something feels off, but I'm afraid of so many people missing out on what could be the biggest opportunity of their lives. And that's not an understatement. Even if you think of the fact that 12 years ago, Bitcoin was 1 cent and then $1. And then $5, and then $10, then $100, and $500, and $1,000, and $2,000, and $8,000, and $14,000, and now we're roughly around $23,000 to $24,000 US dollars. If you had accumulated years ago, that you would of course be absolutely wealthy right now. If we're getting really crazy numbers for where Bitcoin could potentially go in the future, you also potentially stand to make a huge amount of money as well. The thing that feels weird for me is I think we are at the point of no return. And what I mean about that is we must have had this discussion before, either here or on the other channel, where there was a survey or something going around where they were asking people, if there was an emergency, would you be able to muster up, find $300 to deal with that emergency? And a huge portion of the people were like, nope, not a chance. I don't have $300 on me. If you raise it to 1,000, it's like a minuscule amount who can actually come up with that money, which is absolutely terrifying. We've gotten to the point where if you want 1/100th of a Bitcoin, you need around 235, 240 US dollars. If other people, normal people, can't come up with that money, especially during a year like this, there's no chance for them to be able to accumulate Bitcoin. Do you see what I'm getting at? If this is going to be indeed a new world currency or a new store of value or a new store of something, and we're talking about Bitcoin is undervalued and should be at $400,000 right now, once again, I repeat, what does that mean for Bitcoin in 4 years? If it's undervalued now, just imagine during the next halving, and then the next halving, and then the next halving. How high is Bitcoin's price going to actually go? I think I just saw an article that said that Bitcoin has to reach $1 million per coin for one Satoshi to be worth 1 cent. That's insane to even think about in my brain, so kind of just going to leave that there. But the other point to be, once again, just to finish off this entire thought, as more and more Bitcoin continues to be bought up and its price continues to rise, the people who Bitcoin is essentially meant for, so saith Satoshi Nakamoto, are being hyper priced out of the market. That's one of the reasons why I made this channel years ago, and when I, was just basically screaming into the microphone for everyone to really pay attention to get into the market. Because if people can't afford 300 right now to buy 1/100th, not even considering the fact of the entire you own 0.28% of a Bitcoin, you're part of the Bitcoin 1%. If you can't own 1/100th of a Bitcoin, what happens when Bitcoin goes to $50,000? And you need 500 to own 1%. When Bitcoin hits $100,000, you need 1,000 to own 0.01 Bitcoin. If Bitcoin goes to $500,000, you need $5,000 to be able to own 1% of a Bitcoin. So that's what I kind of mean. I think that the idea of what Bitcoin is has kind of flown into the wind. More or less, the original idea of it. I think it wasn't adopted as heavily as it should have been by normal people who continue to look down on Bitcoin, shun Bitcoin, say bad things about Bitcoin. All the things that you find negative about Bitcoin or that you're saying about Bitcoin or so are the same lies that were fed to you by the banks who are now buying up Bitcoin. And I don't think people really understand that. It's the same exact thing with XRP. There was a thing in the very beginning by tons of people who told you not to buy XRP while they were buying up XRP. It's just kind of the way that the world goes. But the issue is that people have this idea of something stuck in their head because they don't really look any further as to why would that person be saying X, Y, and Z about so and so and so. And then they end up getting caught in the situation where they could have made money, huge amounts of money, but they didn't because someone told them the opposite. Anyway, so as we go forward, I do fear that I think this is kind of it. If Bitcoin does continue rising in price along this trend line that we've been seeing and everything does spectacularly happen in 2021, there's not going to be a way for a lot of the people to ever own a significant amount of Bitcoin. Because there's something called crypto vanity. I've mentioned it before. It's basically the idea that I would rather hold 100 Dogecoin as opposed to 0.02431 Bitcoin. People don't like the idea, it's vanity, of owning a fragment of something as opposed to a whole something. And this is why the altcoin market actually continues to flourish. This is why Bcash and BSV sometimes, really get that fervor going because people go, well, it has the name Bitcoin and is worth a lot less right now, but it could go as high as Bitcoin, and that's not what's going to actually happen. So as Bitcoin continues rising in price, people are going to be angry that Bitcoin is so high in price and that they did not purchase it before. And then they're going to look to go buy Bitcoin and they're going to go, I want a whole Bitcoin. I don't want 0.010001 of a Bitcoin. And then they continue to push themselves further out of the actual market. If Bitcoin passes by $250,000, it's strong enough to take over the US dollar. This means to me and to many other analysts, if you've read and seen what we were discussing before, that Bitcoin has the potential to, and I'm not saying that it's going to, that Bitcoin is then positioning itself to potentially be able to go to $500,000 to $1 million to $10 million and even the mythical $100 million. And in that scenario, that's when Bitcoin has absorbed all of gold, has absorbed a huge amount of the, if not all of the securities market and real estate as well, which I'll also get into as well if I can remember the real estate part. And then at that point, the people who should or could have gotten in right now, they're going to miss out. It's this really weird thing for me because I like the idea and got into Bitcoin in the cryptocurrency space because it was a new monetary system that was available and open to everyone. But there's so many coins like Pump Coin and these other things that people are never going to use, that people are going to gravitate towards in the idea that they could potentially get rich from these things because they're not looking long term. It's the same exact way that so many young people right now, it bothers me so much. So many young people don't think about the future. I'm sure if you're here and you're young, you're of course thinking about it, but it's this kind of thing where so many friends I have and so many people I know, they think about the next day and that's it. Or they get a job and they go, well, I'm content in this job forever. And I'm like, You're not saving for retirement. You're not putting any money away. You're not thinking about buying a house. Even if you're not thinking about buying a house for you, your wife, your kids, and your family, it's more of a think of buying an investment property. Think of buying land. Think of buying, what's the other thing that people were also, that was really popular a couple of years ago? Like parking spaces and stuff like that. Something to make a passive income. Like no one thinks any further. And I think it's kind of the same exact thing with Bitcoin right now. Everyone's thinking of the cashing out when it hits 20,000, which I'm sure a lot of people did and they burned. Cashing out when it hits 50,000. Like there won't be a need to cash out of Bitcoin as the price continues going higher. Anyway, that's enough of that talk. And the entire idea of real estate is that if Bitcoin does in some future end up taking over as a world reserve currency or the world currency that other currencies are then based off of the same exact way that gold was, we will be able to see that mathematically any fiat currency or any currency that is based against Bitcoin, especially through rehypothecation, or any other fiat currency that kind of develops itself and is based off of rocks. We're going to make a new currency and base it off of rocks. We'll be able to see the devaluation of that asset or that currency next to the price of Bitcoin. If things are priced completely in Bitcoin and in Satoshis, we'll be able to see. If through deflation, Bitcoin continues rising in price year on year in a deflationary world, deflationary currency, we'll be able to see Bitcoin's value has risen by 8% from the year before. Real estate, while not really dropping, it's based in a fiat currency, has also kind of begun to devalue itself as well next to the price of Bitcoin. And this leads then to the idea that, which a lot of people, remember when I told you people were saying these things since 2012 and I was like, that's never going to happen? And a lot of these things are now taking place. I had to move the window a little tiny bit just so you can not have that sun on me again. They said, and this was, I don't want to say prophesized, but this was brought up by them, that in the future, if Bitcoin does become big enough, that people will start to sell off their real estate because they'll simply go, the real estate didn't make me as much as Bitcoin. The value of the real estate next to Bitcoin's actually Satoshi value is decreasing, and therefore I should just put my money into Bitcoin. And at that point, the idea would be is that we'd have a more, I guess you could say a more equal world, if you kind of want to say that, because real estate prices would begin to go back to normal levels. There's no reason right now that any apartment should ever cost $45 million. There's just no actual reason for it. There's no way in San Francisco that a slim one-bedroom house should cost $2.7 million. It just logically does not make a lot of sense. So a lot of this happens because companies are buying up as much real estate as possible to have a monopoly on it. But when that monopoly pops, then, So anyway, that's kind of the idea. And I tell all of you this because I want everyone else to also know, to see if you can pay attention to the trends that are happening. Everything else that's been told to me and that I read from years ago about the cryptocurrency space has come true. The next domino is, like, we have the institutions now, we have the banks, which is really crazy to even think that we've come this far. The next step is countries. And then once countries begin to heavily adopt Bitcoin, Bitcoin's price skyrockets. And then from there, it's just the devaluation of other assets, which isn't a bad thing. Don't think that the devaluation of your home is going to be a terrible thing, especially if you're holding Bitcoin. You still stand to heavily profit from holding portions of the new world currency. But at this point, no, things will be a lot easier and a lot less stress on the actual. Anyway, I'm going to move on. I did not mean to spend that much time on this one thing, but we get news every single day, and I just want to make sure that everyone's in the market. I know that they're not. My friend, who's also heavily into crypto, he's been asking a lot of people if they hold Bitcoin, and he was kind of shocked at the amount of people who hold no Bitcoin and think that Bitcoin has no future, or that Bitcoin isn't going to continue rising, or all these other things. And follow the news. Like, what do you think is taking place right now? That all these banks are talking about the US dollar collapsing and Bitcoin devouring gold. So that's the Jeffries news for today. And also for a pension fund. I mentioned that years ago, when we start getting pension funds and people who are creating retirement funds for people, they then know and believe that Bitcoin has 40 to 60 year longevity. They're buying Bitcoin to put into their fund for people who are in their 20s and 30s who are working for jobs who in 30 to 40 years plan on retiring. Let's move on. Next up, and also other weird, it's not weird, but it's more like this trend is continuing, and I'm trying to really figure out why. In a recent interview, Dan Morehead, the founder, co-CIO, and CEO of Pantera Capital, talked about XRP. Morehead's comments about XRP came during an interview with former hedge fund manager Raoul Pal, who is currently the CEO of Real Vision, according to the report by Daily Hodl. With regards to XRP, Morehead said, XRP is accumulating the cross-border money movement that everyone in the industry has been talking about for a long time. Currently, blockchain-enabled cross-border money movement from the U.S. to Mexico is getting close to 10% of all of that very important $25 billion remittance corridor. It's huge success for our industry for a use case that's really making people's lives better. I've been seeing a lot of news about people who are discussing the fact that XRP is good. I'm buying up XRP. I'm looking to XRP so-and-so. I feel like they know that something behind the scenes is taking place because we haven't. The XRP news that we've been getting has been like Ripple has acquired someone. Ripple has partnered with someone. Ripple is waiting to leave the United States. Ripple is waiting for blah, blah, blah. But we keep getting major names who are talking about that XRP seems like a good bet. XRP seems like a so-and-so. So I'm not sure if it's just them hyping up what they own, really just discussing what they're looking into, or if something behind the scenes is actually taking place. There was also the speculation that once the U.S. gets a new president, that admission. What? That group of people entering the White House may be or are apparently more crypto friendly than the previous one, and therefore, as Ripple does have board members from the SEC, the CFTC, and other banking entities that maybe they know something. This is all I can kind of really, put together in my head. But it's kind of interesting how many people are now coming out in support of XRP or being bullish for XRP. I guess we'll see if we do get proper cryptocurrency regulation in the near future in the United States. Then I assume XRP will do extremely well. But until that day, let's move on. Same exact thing with Ethereum. This is also popping up as well. The team at Grayscale Investments has announced via Twitter that there has been strong demand for Ethereum investment products. According to Grayscale, the third quarter of 2020 saw the largest investment into the Ethereum trust, with over $202 million in inflows. The team at Grayscale provided these facts via the tweet right here. They are writing what I just said. Grayscale has continued to accumulate Ethereum, with their current holdings being a few points shy of $2 billion. It's apparently $1.94 billion worth of Ether. This corresponds to 2.94 million Ethereum in the Grayscale vault, with 344,000 Ether of this amount accumulated in the last month. So I follow the trends. I follow where things are actually going. I keep seeing an abundant amount of course, Bitcoin news. But now we're seeing a huge amount of, hey, Ethereum looks like a good bet, and I'm going to start looking into XRP news. And I mentioned this to everyone else before. Whatever the news is, this is what we discuss, and this is what we go over. The news 99% of the time revolves around Bitcoin. Should there be Cardano news that Cardano's doing this, Cardano's being accumulated, I'm going to bring it to you. Same exact thing with Litecoin, same exact thing with Lumens. There are many coins that I don't care for. However, if they get this level of adoption, we will discuss them. But at the moment, there's usually 3 coins, I say 2.5 coins that are being discussed constantly. It's Bitcoin, Ethereum, and the little sliver of news that we keep getting about XRP. Anyway, yeah, Grayscale is, of course, buying up tons of Bitcoin, but the Ethereum news is quite interesting, and I think that's definitely going to continue as well. Next up, in news that is supposed to scare you, do not let it scare you, and I'll explain why. It says the rumors were true. After weeks of speculation that the Treasury Department was working on regulations that would affect crypto wallets, the Financial Crimes Enforcement Network, or FENCEN, today issued proposed rules that would require banks and money service businesses to submit reports, keep records, and verify the identities of customers who make crypto transactions into unhosted wallets. So, the news was a couple of weeks ago from Brian Armstrong, the CEO of Coinbase. He went on a bit of a rant on Twitter telling people 3 weeks ago, hey, there's a problem, something about this is terrible for the cryptocurrency industry, you can't do this, stop doing this, yada, yada, yada. And everyone was like, what are you talking about, bruh? He said that Steve Mnuchin, I think it was Steve Mnuchin, doesn't really matter, was planning on implementing some type of a new law that would require cryptocurrency exchanges to get the information from where and to where their inflows and outflows were going. I.e., if you were trying to send money to a cryptocurrency exchange and you were trying to take your money off of a cryptocurrency exchange, you would have to, in turn, I guess, air quotes, register your outgoing address with the cryptocurrency exchange to say, hey, realistically, hey, I put my money on Coinbase. Now I want to take it off to address 140x29 blah, 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 blah. This address also belongs to me. One, I could have told you years ago that this was going to happen. We have so many discussions for KYC, know your customer, and anti-money laundering things. This was going to happen. It just seems logical because that's how logic works. Governments already do this for bank accounts, so one can only assume that they were going to do this for cryptocurrency accounts, especially on cryptocurrency exchanges who have banking charters. Two, this doesn't really negatively impact you. This negatively impacts cryptocurrency exchanges because you legally, as long as you're legally able to do so, can download a cryptocurrency wallet, can download a Bitcoin wallet onto your computer, your laptop, your whatever, your so-and-so, and, you can move Bitcoin around by yourself between you and all your friends. And just when you go to a cryptocurrency exchange, and only certain cryptocurrency exchanges, I assume it'll flow to all of them, that becomes an issue. This is why we've probably also been seeing a huge amount of outflow of Bitcoin from cryptocurrency exchanges. And once again, I would implore you to learn how to self-custody. Watch a video, read a book, do something, because it is definitely coming your way. As long as you are legally able to own and hold your own crypto, it's probably time that you start getting into that way. So it's basically kind of the same exact way that if you are, imagine you have funds in your bank account. Imagine this is Coinbase, but it's also a bank account, and you're sending money to Billy Bob. You still have to have Billy Bob's information, and that's kind of the way that this new rule is going to go. They basically want to make cryptocurrency accounts the same exact way that bank accounts are. This is why I said this news is meant to scare you, because this news is going around and it's kind of like, oh, woe is us, how dare they do that, cryptocurrency decentralized. And it's like, no, banks and institutions are in it. So, of course, they're going to have the same exact banking rules and laws that they have for banks. The new rules, which have gone out for public comment until the 4th of January 2021, propose that convertible virtual currency and legal tender digital assets be classified as monetary instruments and are therefore subject to the requirements of the Bank Secrecy Act. Under those rules, any transaction totaling more than $10,000 in a 24-hour period must be reported to FinCEN. You know why that sounds familiar? Because it's the same exact thing that happens with your normal bank account right now. Not saying that these laws are wonderful or amazing, but it's like we already know these things. A bureau of the U.S. Treasury Department, and that customer's identity must be verified. Many transactions would require a lower threshold of $3,000. Cool. Wonderful. Once again, just don't use a cryptocurrency exchange. And this is why I believe the people from Coinbase were like kind of, really throwing their arms up in the air. Is because it ruins their business. Why would I want to keep my money on your website if I have to give more information than I'm actually required to do so anywhere else? Why would I do that? So the outflows begin to happen. People stop using those cryptocurrency exchanges. And even more so, we've had this discussion before on the topic of decentralized exchanges. These are happening. These are already out there. And when they pop up a lot more, you can't regulate a decentralized exchange. So what happens when everyone just starts trading on a decentralized exchange? Decentralized exchanges aren't something that's like, a pipe dream or like maybe in 20 years we'll get one. Like, no, we have them. They're being developed. Binance is also creating one as well, that they're just simply going to like let flow into the ether one day. And anyway, so yeah, this news is meant to scare you as a way to drop prices. But we knew this was coming. This is the way that the banking world currently works. You are still legally able to hold onto your crypto on your computer, onto your laptop, onto your phone, onto a cold storage device. So it only affects cryptocurrency exchanges and not you. And without further ado, let's move on now. And to finish things off, the CEO of Binance, Changpeng Zhao, has disclosed that the team at the crypto firm is currently discussing the possibility of destroying or burning, it says destroying, their utility token known as Binance Coin at a faster rate. This is aimed towards reducing the coin's overall supply volume. For those of you who have no idea what I'm talking about, Binance Coin, belonging to Binance, when it was created, it had 200 million coins. And we were told from the people at Binance that they would initiate a coin burn. I think it's quarterly, it was every 3 months or every 4 months or something like that. They'd be burning a huge portion of the coins. And the idea is that to take these coins off of the market so that eventually they get to a maximum of 100 million Binance coin. It's to make the coin scarcer, it's to make the coin have more utility, it's to make the coin have so-and-so, yada, yada, yada. A lot of people were talking about in 2018 and 2019, this was the speculation that Binance was positioning itself to become the, what would you call it? To become the Tesla or the Apple of the cryptocurrency space, and that this speculation, and that their coin would become the stock of Binance. And if you held on to some stock or the coin of Binance, therefore you'd own a portion of the actual company, and therefore, as the burn continues to accelerate, the value of the coin ends up going up. But apparently, the burn might be a bit too slow for them. The crypto firm has completed 13 burns of its crypto asset. Earlier in October, the firm had torched over 2 million Binance coins that were worth around $68 million. This was the highest value that the crypto firm had ever burned in one fell swoop. Binance does this burning every quarter. There we go. And its goal is to burn half of the, here we go, right here. 200 million Binance coin that it issued. These would equate to burning around 100 million Binance coins in circulation. So I assume they're going to accelerate this. It probably has to do with, money. But the idea that they probably want to make sure that their coin is well positioned during the next parabolic run. The less coins you have on the market and the scarcer it is, if everything is going up and people are going after these scarcer assets, therefore Binance coin probably stands to position itself in a very good position during the next, wow, I like slammed my head into the microphone. Why do I do that every single day? During the next, I guess because I'm not paying attention, during the next run. Anyway, that's the Binance coin news. I think everyone is trying to make, I don't know. I mean, of course, everyone's trying to make sure that they're in the best position during the next parabolic run. And I guess that's basically where we are now. The next move is just, to have the run continue. But anyway, that's the Binance coin news. Moving along. Give me half a second. Where's my phone? There we go. As always, a very special thank you to my Patreon supporters, Professor Wally from Gunbot University, Crypto Stahl, George Montoya, Wiselink, not TMI, Conan Don't Skip Leg Day, Snacky Chan, Tolik Banan, Auspicious Agile and Blockchain, Navarro Williams, David James, Attila the Han, Yasha Harari, Oscar Maldonado, Utopia 569, Moonman High, XRP, Joshua Vineyard, Martin Steuer, Nostromo, John Sarson, The Animal Reader, A Bibliophobia, Todd Mullis, Adam Graysick, Moher Maroni, Master Ventures in Thailand, Jared Schneider, Wise Night Owl, 242 to the World, Bankroll Network, Crypto Artist, Cold D3D, Damian Setsuna, Richie Richard III, Vlad the Impaler, Paxis, Nick Mangialavori, Anthony Charles, Jim Gardner, Jeremy Fox, Minting Coins, Millie His Chest Every Day, and Kyle Skips Leg Day. Yes to Crypto, Boyd and McBoatface, Anytime Fitness, Mouse Corner Staff, Arfmedic17, Bake Me a Cake, Tigera Machonisa, On Crypto with Lionel, Crayola Michelle URL, and Bolero Bastos. Thank you all very, very much for your support. Thank you to everyone who is a member of the channel. Thank you to everyone who is a new Patreon. I get new ones every single day, and I'm always like, woo! Thank you very much for all of your support. And thank you to everyone who supports the channel in their own way. I do appreciate it. At the moment, where is it? Bitcoin is currently at 22,784. There's been a lot of crazy wild movements. This movement right here, this wasn't even here a couple of minutes ago, but this around here was very, very jagged. I think this one right here, we went to 24,300 or something like that. And a lot of the things floating around was that Bitcoin looked like it was going to try and smash past 25,000. Of course, we have the people behind the scenes who are trying to do whatever they can to lower the price so that they can accumulate more. But when Bitcoin falls by a bit, the other coins fall by a lot. Same exact way in reverse. If Bitcoin goes up by 2%, other coins go up by 15% as well. It's just part of the market. These are normal fluctuations. We are talking about a digital asset that is positioning itself as a world reserve currency. There's going to be some ups and downs. It is never a straight shot up, and it is never a straight shot down. So everything is reacting. Bitcoin is, of course, the gigantic magnet in the sky. Every coin is reacting to it accordingly. Anything crazy? Stablecoin. Dogecoin was up by 20% because of Elon Musk's tweet. Yeah, that's going to do it for this video. I do hope you all enjoyed. I do hope that you all are having a great day, a great morning, a great afternoon, a great evening, wherever you are, wherever you might be. I do hope that it is absolutely fantastic. The year's going to end in 10 days. Isn't that super weird? This year flew by. My goodness. Thank you all once again for watching and or listening, and I will most certainly be talking to you all soon. See